Jesse and Jane's secret relationship. Get ready for an exciting ride into Season 2, Episode 8 of Breaking Bad. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome recaps. Walt and Jesse hit another bump in the road when Jesse's buddy Badger gets busted by the Albuquerque cops. Even though their business is growing fast and they're raking in cash, something doesn't add up when Walt gets $45,000 instead of the $48,000 he was expecting. Jesse soon finds out from another dealer that Badger has been arrested, and now they've got a new mess to clean up. After the bombing in Juarez, Hank goes back to his old job as a DEA agent in Albuquerque, but he's dealing with some serious stress. He tries to act like everything's fine, but just getting out of bed feels like a huge challenge. Hank came home without telling Marie, and he's keeping quiet about what happened. Marie eventually finds out about the Juarez incident from Hank's co-worker Gomez. Worried about Hank, she asks Walt to talk to him. Hank doesn't want to see a therapist because he thinks it could ruin his career, so Walt tries to cheer him up and tells him to move on. Meanwhile, Gomez informs Hank that they've arrested Badger, who had some of the well-known blue meth. A tricky lawyer named Saul met Badger in jail and offered to be his lawyer for $4,650. Badger calls Jesse and asks him to meet Saul and pay him. When Walt meets Saul, he pretends to be Badger's uncle and gets worried when Saul mentions that the DEA is after Badger's supplier. They think the supplier is a big-time drug boss called Heisenberg. Walt starts coughing during the meeting with Saul. In the end, Walt and Jesse hire Saul, who has a clever way to make sure Badger gets a light sentence without giving away Jesse or Walt's secret identity. Saul wants Badger to snitch on his supplier so he can avoid trouble, but Walt offers Saul $10,000 to keep Badger out of it without him having to testify. Saul doesn't take the bribe, so Jesse and Walt decide to kidnap him to make him change his mind. Saul figures out who Walt is because of his cough and agrees to help by framing another criminal, Jimmy, as Heisenberg to get Badger off the hook. Saul suggests the easiest way would be to kill Badger, but Jesse refuses to even think about that. Jimmy, also known as In and Out, makes a living by getting paid to go to jail for other criminals. Saul says they can have Jimmy pretend to be Heisenberg, but it's going to cost a lot. Jimmy wants $80,000 and 1 pound of pure meth. Out of that $80,000, Saul takes $50,000 for his part in the plan. The DEA arrests Jimmy after Badger makes a drug deal with him in a public spot, but Hank isn't fully convinced they've caught the real Heisenberg. Something about it just doesn't sit right with him. Using a private investigator, Saul finds Walt at the school. He visits Walt and points out that he's too easy to locate. Saul offers to be Walt's full-time lawyer and advisor, helping him cover his tracks and stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, business is booming, and Walt and Jesse are making a lot of money with their operation. One Saturday, Skylar heads to work, and Walt notices that she's dressed really nicely for her job with Ted. This makes him wonder what's going on. Meanwhile, Jesse has spent the night with Jane and finds out she is working on overcoming her addiction. Later, after Jesse orders a mattress for his apartment, he and Jane end up getting intimate again. To be continued. Make sure you don't miss what happens next. Hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay tuned.